You probably think owning a five-star hotel means you just sit in a fancy lobby, sip champagne, and watch money fall from the ceiling like confetti. I hate to break this to you, but the ceiling is actually where most of your money goes to die, one chandelier at a time. Here's the twist nobody tells you before you dream about buying that beachfront resort. A five-star hotel is not really in the business of selling rooms. It is in the business of selling an illusion. And illusions, my friend, are expensive to maintain. Let's start with the number that scares away 90% of dreamers before they even finish their coffee. Building a proper five-star hotel, the kind with marble floors and staff who somehow know your name before you've said it, can cost anywhere between $200,000 and $600,000 per single room. Not per hotel, per room. So if you're building a 100-room property, you could be staring down a $50 million bill before a single guest has even complained about the Wi-Fi. And that's just to open the doors. Nobody warns you about what happens next. Because here's the part that breaks people's brains. The land, the construction, the marble, all of that is a one-time punch to the wallet. But the real financial horror movie is what plays every single day after you open. Staffing alone can eat up 30 to 40% of your total revenue. A proper five-star property doesn't just need receptionists and cleaners. It needs a small army. Chefs, sommeliers, spa therapists, security, gardeners, someone whose entire job is folding towels into swans. Yes, that's a real job. Yes, it's oddly specific. So if staffing alone takes almost half your income, where does the rest of the money even go? Buckle up, because this is where hidden costs start throwing a party you weren't invited to. Energy bills for a luxury hotel are brutal, especially in hot climates where guests expect their room to feel like the inside of a refrigerator the moment they walk in. Then there's linen replacement, because five-star guests do not tolerate a towel that has seen better days. There's insurance, which for luxury properties can run into hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. Because when you have priceless art in the lobby and a pool shaped like a lagoon, insurance companies get very nervous. And we haven't even talked about the silent killer of hotel profits: renovation cycles. Most people assume you build a hotel once and it just runs forever, like a golden goose that never gets tired. Wrong. Five-star hotels are expected to renovate every 7 to 10 years just to keep their star ratings. Furniture, fixtures, even the smell of the lobby, all of it needs refreshing, because luxury has an expiration date and it is shorter than you think. Now, here's where it gets genuinely interesting, because this is where psychology quietly takes over the entire business model. You see, a five-star hotel isn't actually selling comfort. Plenty of three-star hotels have comfortable beds. What five-star hotels are really selling is status. And status is a strange thing to price, because people will pay absurd amounts for it without blinking. This is called the Veblen effect, and it's a wonderfully weird corner of economics where demand for something goes up as the price goes up, not down. A $500 room isn't just a room. It's proof to yourself and often to your Instagram followers that you've made it. That single psychological trick is the reason a suite that costs the hotel maybe $40 a night to service can be sold for $800, and guests will thank you for the privilege. There's also something called commitment bias working quietly in the background, and it's sneakier than it sounds. Once a guest has already paid a huge amount for the room itself, their brain starts justifying every additional expense that follows. They've already spent so much, so what's another $60 for breakfast or another $100 for the couple's massage? Hotels understand this better than most psychologists, which is exactly why breakfast is rarely included at the very top-tier properties, even though it would cost the hotel almost nothing to offer it for free. But status alone doesn't keep a hotel profitable. There's a second, sneakier revenue stream hiding in plain sight, and it's one most beginners completely overlook. Rooms are actually not where the real money is made. I know, shocking. The real profit engine is what the industry politely calls ancillary revenue. Room service markups that would make a street vendor blush. Minibar items priced like they were mined from the moon. Spa treatments with margins north of 70%. wedding and event hosting, which can single-handedly cover a slow season. Some luxury properties make more from a single weekend wedding than from an entire week of room bookings. So why doesn't every hotel just push guests toward giz extras aggressively? Because here's where the part where loss aversion and scarcity quietly run the show. Five-star hotels rarely discount rooms, even when occupancy is low, and this confuses beginners every time. Wouldn't it make sense to fill empty rooms at a lower price? Turns out, no. Discounting damages the brand's perceived scarcity, and once guests believe a five-star hotel is desperate, the entire illusion collapses. Instead, hotels would rather keep a room empty than sell it cheap, because an empty room protects the myth, while a discounted room destroys it. This is exactly what happened with brands like the Ritz-Carlton and Four Seasons during economic downturns. Instead of slashing prices, many luxury chains got creative with bundled experiences. Private transfers, complimentary spa credits, anything that maintained the sticker price while quietly adding value. The number on the door stayed sacred. Now let's talk about the part that actually determines whether you become rich or ruined, and it has almost nothing to do with a hotel itself. Location decides your fate before you've even poured the foundation. A five-star hotel in a city with year-round tourism, business travel, and events can hit occupancy rates of 70 to 80%. But build that same stunning property somewhere seasonal, and you might be looking at 40% occupancy for half the year, while your fixed costs, staff salaries, electricity, maintenance, keep running exactly the same whether the rooms are full or embarrassingly empty. This single miscalculation is the biggest mistake new hotel owners make. They fall in love with the view and forget to fall in love with the footfall. Take the case of Dubai, a city that basically built its entire skyline on this exact principle. The Burj Al Arab, often called the world's only 7-star hotel, even though no official body actually hands out that rating, sits in a location where business travelers, luxury tourists, and layover visitors from 3 continents collide almost every single day. That constant flow of demand is precisely why a property with jaw-dropping construction costs can still post strong occupancy year after year. Meanwhile, equally beautiful resorts in remote island destinations often struggle, not because the rooms are worse, but because getting there requires 2 flights, a ferry, and a small miracle of scheduling. Now, compare that to something most people never think about. Seasonality risk. A ski resort hotel in the Swiss Alps might be fully booked and wildly profitable for 4 months a year, then practically empty for the rest of it. Owners in these locations have learned to treat the off-season almost like hibernation, cutting staff, closing entire wings, and surviving on the fat built up during peak months. It's less like running a business and more like farming, where you harvest hard during the right season and budget carefully for the drought. This is also where debt quietly becomes the villain of the story. Most 5-star hotels aren't built with cash sitting in someone's bank account. They're built with loans, often covering 70% or more of total construction costs. Which means before a hotel earns a single dollar of profit, it first has to cover interest payments that can run into millions annually. This is precisely why so many stunning 5-star properties, the guide you'd assume are gold mines, actually operate at a loss for years, while owners bet on long-term appreciation rather than short-term income. So after all these costs, all this psychology, all these hidden traps, does owning a 5-star hotel actually make sense financially? Here's the honest answer nobody puts in a glossy brochure. Profit margins for well-run luxury hotels typically land somewhere between 10 and 20%, which sounds modest until you realize we're talking about 10 to 20% of genuinely massive revenue. A successful 100-room 5-star property can generate anywhere from $15 to $30 million a year in revenue, which means even a conservative 15% margin puts several million dollars in your pocket annually once the property is actually established and running well. But notice that phrase, once it's established, Because the brutal truth is that most five-star hotels don't turn meaningful profit for the first 3 to 5 years. You're not just building a building, you're building a reputation. And reputations, unlike rooms, cannot be rushed, bought outright, or finished on schedule. So here's what owning a five-star hotel actually is once you strip away the champagne and the chandeliers. It's not a real estate business. It's not even really a hospitality business. It's a psychology business wearing a very expensive disguise, where every marble floor, every perfectly folded towel swan, and every suspiciously overpriced minibar snack exists for one single purpose: to make you believe you're paying for luxury, when really you're paying to feel like you belong somewhere most people never will.